What up, fam? Your boy Josh. We tapping back in. I told y'all we're gonna keep this thing rolling. Look, I'm gonna touch on a couple topics that I see that's coming our way, but then there's a simple paragraph. This video is not gonna be halfway as long as the other one, but seriously, this book, Strong Man's book. There's a paragraph that I want us to tap into, and I want to say this. I want to preface this with saying this. Yes, that topic I used for last video was provocative, but I wanted to get some clicks and some eyeballs on it. I wanted to get some discussion. Um, I don't want anybody to feel alienated. I don't want anybody to think that they have to think the same way that I think or anything like that. I don't care what religion you are, whatever. It's about the discussion. It's about the understanding. Listen, when we are done with this thing, there will be no religions. There will be no words. There will be no physicality. It will just be what it is. So I'm inviting all free thought, all free thinkers. Anybody that wants to chop something up, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'm not gonna like freak out and be like, oh no, they're blocked. No. I'm gonna rationally, seriously sit back and think about it. So let's get into this. I want to start this off with my WL shift people. I just want to tap in. I'm gonna tell you what I think, what I see coming, because it's coming. It is coming. You remember? I can remember watching television in a state of shock at home. In a state of shock because I knew that all my neighbors and everybody in the neighborhood were home. Nobody was working. Everybody was home. All the cars were in the driveway. Everybody was either doing something outside the house, walking around the neighborhood, but everybody was home. No one was working. That's what caused that state of shock. But I remember watching the news, and they showed in multiple states lines of hundreds of cars waiting to get food donations, food pantries, food banks. Hundreds of cars. I mean, y'all saw it, lines a mile long. In some cases, a lot of the food pantries were running out of food. People were waiting hours. People were running out of gas. We were definitely in a state of desperation. Fam, look, let me tell you, that is coming back. Okay? Do you remember? I can remember going to the store and it was 2 in, 2 out, 2 in, 2 out. And you have to wait in a line that's going to take 45 minutes for you. You know, the line would it would snake around the barrier so you could get in, but you would have to wait. I can remember shortages in a lot of the stores. I can remember the uncertainty. I'm not gonna lie to you. When that thing popped off, I thought it was the end. I thought we were seeing the end. I thought things were not gonna go back to normal because it was so extreme. The fact that they told people to not work and stay home. But then we had a savior. Not so much for me, but there was a savior. It was unemployment. I think unemployment was what made the situation bearable, dealable, because before that, cars were getting repossessed, people were getting kicked out of apartments. There were so many issues and problems because people could not work that it was crazy. We're going back to that. Except I don't think there's going to be unemployment. This is a different deal. This is a different bag. What else did we see? Y'all? Let's keep this real. We saw massive protest. Massive protest. We saw massive amounts of rioting, looting, destruction. We saw crazy things. And I believe that's why that policing act just is getting going now. Because I can't imagine us going back to that thing again without unemployment, without a safety cushion, without a safety net. But I think that's where we're headed. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, pain is coming. Pain is coming. I don't know exactly how any and all this works, but I'm telling you, it's going to be different. Prep up, fam. Now let's get into this. Let's get into this. I want to get to this. Look, we got so much material. This is just a paragraph in the introduction. That video I talked about, just my take on what God is to me. What I hate to say he, but what God looks like, what God feels like, what God is. But I read this paragraph, and and again, let's just kind of tap into it. So it's worded weird. So let me read it. It says this paragraph is talking about God using evil. Look. You know how we always say, oh, well, we got to roll with it. It's to teach us a lesson. He'll knock you back down, to open your eyes when you go too far. Da, 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 da. Well, okay, let's tap into this paragraph. It says, God will never stoop. And fam, in so many books and literature, it drives me crazy when they make God seem so simple and so weak and so feeble. But let's go. God will never stoop so low as to use one of the works of the devil to deal with his children. Makes sense. God would not have sent Jesus to destroy the works of the devil, only to pick them back up to use on those he loves. That sounds good. We can have confidence that God has enough wisdom to deal with us on a higher level than the devil would use. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. 10 minutes is all we need tonight. That is what we're talking about. Now tap in, fam. This is what I want in the comments. A little bit of homework. Do you think that God uses tools of the negative side of things, the devil, do you think he uses those as tools to teach us lessons here and now? That's the question. Tap in. Tell me what you think. We're going to learn something, fam. Look, we're going to put our heads together and we're going to figure something out with this one. Now, let me give you my little 2 cents. God will never stoop so low. Fam, I don't know about y'all, but my God never stoops low. God will never stoop so low as to use the works of the devil to deal with his children. Let's just tap into that. Let's just tap into that, because I'm guilty of this too. I'm just going through a season. They're sitting me down. First and foremost, first and foremost, this physicality that we're living in right now, this physical existence is ruled. It is under the control of your boy, the evil one himself. We are walking in the land of the lost, the evil, the low vibration. We're here. He controls this realm. The glamour, the glitz, the lust, the pain, the loss, the death, the sin, the physicalities of this existence, this low vibrational existence. He controls this. The evil one. And the only reason that he controls this is because it is allowed. It is allowed. Trust me. I don't even like saying his name, but the evil one knows who created him and everything else. Now, we can even go a little bit further than just that. Let's get into the next sentence. But with that saying, the fact that we live in this physical existence, the fact that we are currently existing physically in this physical system, in this devilish system, it tells me that there is so much more to this, to me in my mind, and I could be wrong, but it seems like I've always said that God took a piece of himself, I hate attributing humanistic qualities to what I'm saying, but it's kind of like a father having kids. God takes a piece of his spirit himself, and he throws it into these. I think that there's plenty of Earths. I think that there are multiple evil leaders in these physical realms. I think that there are a lot, but there is only one Father. But I think he takes a piece of himself and he throws a couple billion pieces of himself over here and a couple billion pieces of himself over there and a couple billions to all these different places. And he positions them within realms of evil. Don't ask me why. I don't know. knowing knowing that the spirit cannot lose, knowing that the spirit cannot be destroyed, knowing that if a person doesn't get it right, I don't know what happens. I don't know. Maybe they try again. I don't know. It's just something in my mind. But the fact that we are here dealing with money and work and problems and all these little when you elevate to a spiritual level, you can truly see how stupid and minuscule all these things are that we have to deal with. I don't chase money. I don't chase fame. There's so many things that I see that I just don't chase. I don't need the big flashy car. Anything that I've acquired that I have, it's just come to me because I don't know, hard work, dedication. I don't know, but there is nothing. I don't want to be rich. More money, more problems. I don't want to invest in this system. Listen. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy or being rich. You make the right decisions. You make the right investments. Da 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 da. But ultimately, to acquire a lot of anything in this existence, you gotta step on a whole lot of people, profits and losses, and that's a game that I don't know, spiritually I'm just not willing to just put my all into. Call it whatever you want. You can call it being lazy. You can call it whatever. All right. God would not have sent Jesus to destroy the works of the devil, only to pick them up and use them against those he loves. There we go, limiting God again. Look. Again, I got a couple notes. First, we're in a physical realm. This is the devil's playground. Second, God created everything. And guess what? He did not make mistakes. And once you understand that he does not make mistakes, no. Not when you just say it, but when you truly understand that he cannot make mistakes. We say, oh, he's bound by his words. No. It's impossible. He does not have the ability to make mistakes. We don't understand that level of spirituality. When we get to where we're going, we will not have the ability to make mistakes. We make mistakes now in the physical. God created everything. I think that there are a bunch of earths. I think that there are a bunch of, I don't even like saying Satans, but devils that control these physical realms, physical existences. I think when we die and we have acquired and do as much as what we should have been doing to get to that higher plane. They're no longer, look, fam, you cross that dimension, that heavenly realm, there is no more pain. There is no more suffering. There is no more lying. We won't even remember what lying is. It will be impossible to lie because it will not be a part of us. You won't be able to sin. Sin will no longer be a part of what we got going on. Can you imagine? To only be able, like you cannot sin, to only be able to do righteous things. Can you imagine the peace and harmony fam, I want you to really sit down and think about that. Like really think about that when you can no longer, it's not even, you don't have the ability to do wrong, to lie, to sin, to hurt people. That is taken away from you. I don't know. I don't know what else, I don't know what you do in a society, in a reality where there is no sin, there is no wrong, there is no lying, when you can't mix up your words, when you aren't bound by anything. I don't know, but that is what we have to look forward to. So God created everything. This whole paragraph about him using evil to teach us lessons, it is what it is. We were placed here for a reason. We are here for work. Figure something out, be tested. I don't know. We're here. And if he didn't want us here to be tested, either to strengthen or to have an awareness of what sin is, to experience what these things are: pain, loss, death, murder, the bad things. I don't know. Maybe this is the only existence where we experience these things, these low vibrational things. Maybe. I don't know. Third, where God is, there is no evil. That's what we were just talking about. What's the last sentence? We can have confidence that God has enough. Here we go, belittling God again. We can have confidence that God has enough wisdom, like we got more, like we have a better understanding. We can have confidence that God has enough wisdom to deal with us on a higher level than the devil would. Yeah, I ain't even. Fam, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that we've been allowed to consume that is just garbage. Here, now. And it's crazy, but only the people who truly seek higher, the people who are open-minded, the people who love freely, the people who don't judge at first glance. I don't know. Okay, but enough of all that stuff. On the other hand, listen, we need to be preparing, fam. I got my YouTube feed up. Let me just see what we got going on. Agenda Free TV. Trump gives commencement address at the University of Alabama. I'm pretty sure that is interesting. New York Prepper. Emergency alert. He's talking about Pakistan and India. They're talking about war at any time. I don't think it's gonna go nuclear. The United States is, fam. We are not controlling the little kids on the playground, and that is what we do. We step in when there's a dispute ahead of time, way before they start shooting missiles and taking out armaments. We step in and say, stop it right now, stop it. Guess what? We're not doing that. And these are two nuclear powered nations that are about to start mixing it up. Let's see, what else do we have? China's not talking. Many are trapped. Where's this at? Kiev, Russia, Europe. Something's going on over there. I think we're stepping in. I heard we sent millions for armaments again when we said we wouldn't. The U.S. has won a two-state solution. That deal's going on. There's so much. There's a whole lot in my feed about the YNs. All right, let me get out of here. It's 18 minutes. Y'all be safe. I love y'all. I love y'all. Be safe. Prepare.